Hi everyone, it's Danny. Welcome back to another Cocoa Vanilla Studio design team project. Today I'm going to be having some fun with this large die cut and backing kit. This is a specialty paper that was released with the Merry and Bright collection, and you get the large die cut of the Christmas tree with that amazing backing piece. So I actually got two layouts out of this, and this is the first one that I'm going to make. So I'm going through just with my normal pencil eraser and just getting off that little bit of adhesive that was still on the backing kit, and that came off just perfectly with the eraser. Next, I'm going to go through with my sewing awl and pierce some holes for some hand stitching, and I'm just going all the way around the outside edge of the tree. I could have gone through and done all the inside pieces as well, but I didn't really want to sit there for too long doing hand stitching. It is a bit of a time-consuming process, and I really like how it looks with those lines inside just being white. And this was super easy because I have those lines there to guide me, so I just followed those and pierced some holes about 3 to 4 millimeters apart. And now I'm going through my stash of embroidery thread and finding this really nice deep green. It provides a really beautiful contrast against the white background. Now I'm just going to go through with the chain stitch, and this type of stitch is very simple to do. There are better tutorials online, I'm sure, that you could find to show you how to do this, but essentially you just go up from the back through the first hole, and then you go back through that first hole with your needle and leave a little loop. Then when you come back up through the next hole, you just go through that loop and then pull the loop taut. Back down through the same hole you came up out of, and then up through the next hole, through the loop, and pull. So there are other techniques to do the same stitch. I have used both techniques that I know, depending on what kind of project I'm working on. I like this technique for this because if I have to start again, if I run out of thread, then it's easy to start again without having to make a straight stitch. I hope that makes sense. If you've done a chain link stitch before, you'll know what I'm talking about. So there we go. It is all finished, and how striking is that? I love doing hand stitching on layouts. I love the texture and dimension that it gives. And I just like to pop on a TV show or some YouTube and watch while I am going through and doing that stitching. So I thought this background was perfect for this photo. It is a picture of a Christmas tree that we found just randomly in a field. A huge tree, beautifully decorated, super lit up. So I am going to scrap that. I've just put on a white border, and now I'm coming in with my watercolors. And I'm just going to add some extra trees of my own with my watercolors. I'm just going to use a few different shades of green, and this is very simple. You do not have to have any kind of artistic skill or talent to do this. Literally, you're just doing like a child would draw a Christmas tree, just those little swishy strokes in a tapering pattern from the top to the bottom, just literally like that. Swish swash, swish swash. So easy. My watercolors are not expensive. They're just set from Officeworks that I think is actually in the kids section, but it's a nice variety of colors. And I'm just going to use a few different shades of green to create some extra depth and dimension. And you can see there I'm varying the light and the dark colors, and it doesn't matter that I'm going right up to the edge of my stitching because I've used a dark colored stitch, and the paint is very similar color to my stitching. So if it does get some paint on it, you can't see it at all. So I'm just going to add a few of these trees, and you can see I'm being quite messy. It doesn't really matter how messy you are. They look great when they're finished, so it's pretty much impossible to ruin this or to stuff it up. So just give it a go. I highly encourage you. It's a lot of fun, and it looks really great afterwards. I'm also just going to paint in the little trunk of the tree, and I'm going to add a little hill for it to sit on as well, just so it didn't look like it was floating out in the air. And I'm just doing a little watercolor wash, like you can see there, and then I'm just doing sort of little stippling strokes along the top edge of the hill to simulate grass. And there's quite a bit of this gets covered up, but you can see it in the finished layout. So for my photo, I'm just going to add one photo mat. I'm going to use this beautiful pink paper. This is one of my favorite papers from the collection. I just love that soft peachy pink color. It's so pretty, and it complements the orange of the lights in my photo really nicely as well. So it is just going to sit there. I'm just going to pop some foam behind my photo because it is sitting over the top of the stitching, and if I didn't do this, it wouldn't sit flat on my layout. It would be kind of bumpy and it'd be hard to glue down properly. So I'm just adding some foam in the areas either side of the stitching for my photo to sit on, give it some extra support. And I'm just using a combination of double-sided tape and glue here. That's just my preference. You can use whatever you would like. Go, perfect. And of course, I had to use one of the delicious puffy stars to top my tree with. I did this on the other layout that I used the die cut backing kit for as well. But if you have these stars, you know what I mean. They're just fabulous. They're so lovely. So I've just added that with a bit of wet glue. And now I'm going through my ephemera and creating some clusters. I popped in that sleigh full of presents on my little hill because how could I not? It was perfect to go under there, and it's just such a cute little whimsical touch. I just love it. These little florals are all fussy cut from the floral pattern paper. Joy to the World it is called, the one with all the florals on it. I fussy cut so many of them out and I just love those teeny tiny florals. So I'm going to use a combination of those and the die cuts to embellish. I've just snipped off this little Christmas memories off the bottom of one of the 3x4 journal cards to use as my title. I love the scripty font and I'm just going through and fussy cutting it out. I'm just leaving a bit of a border all the way around. And it was perfect. It's not too big. I love, like I said, I love the font and the color is perfect. So didn't take me too long at all. I just sped that up super fast so you didn't have to sit through it. And that's just going to go right at the bottom of my photo there. I'm adding a little tag and a floral cluster to my little sleigh that creates its own little cluster at the bottom there. And that gives me that diagonal across the page that I like to have. I'm going to pop in a couple of these little tiny word phrase stickers off the accessory sticker sheet just below my title. And then I will add another one up to the top of my photo here. That big black area was just looking a little too stark for me, so this just helps to soften it. And I will come in with a couple more stickers in a minute to flesh that out. But first I'm just going to glue down all my other little clusters there. I'm just using a bit of tacky glue behind each piece just to hold it down so I don't have to move my clusters around too much now that I've got them where I want them. I love that little cluster of holly berries and leaves at the top there, so sweet. Okay, I'm coming back into the stickers now. I'm going to add that little green tab just at the top of my photo here. I'm just going to tuck that in behind. And then I'll add another one of the little phrase stickers. I think it just says wish. Yep, just in the top there. There we go. And the last thing I'm going to do is add my journaling. I'm just doing a few lines in grey fine liner pen so it doesn't overwhelm the page. And that's my layout finished. Thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget to check the description box for the link to the blog post. Close-ups are coming up and I will see you next time. Bye guys.